afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Argentina for the first round, the opening round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. It's the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. My name is Paul Malin. Thanks for joining us today on MXGPTV.com, wherever you are watching in the world. Local time here is 1 o'clock, so Central European time is at about 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in Great Britain, and wherever you are in the United States and elsewhere in the world as well. Hope you've enjoyed our broadcast so far. But the first race of the year is about to get underway here. We're just outside of the very picturesque Alpine-style town of Villa Langostura in the Nahuel Huapi National Park. And a great location. It's the 5th year in a row now that we've come here for MXGP, the 2nd consecutive year that the opening round has taken place here. Not too many previous winners, of course. The first time we came back here was 2015, but we'll do all of that for the second race. But that's where we are. Close to the Chilean border, actually, believe it or not. Temperature looks like it's warming up just ever so slightly here compared to what it was yesterday. Well, it was 29 yesterday, but 19 earlier for MX2 Race 1. Fans, though, appreciating the decent weather in this part of the world, and why wouldn't you? Here's a quick look at the circuit if you're joining us for the first time. Of course, we did the GoPro track preview in MX2 Race 1, so if you're watching on demand, then of course you can check that out as well. No real changes to the racetrack though, but there have been 1 or 2 team changes over the winter period, so let's take a look at some of those now as we enter the brand new season of MXGP. Well, it's been an off-season of ins and outs in the MXGP ranks, but the big news, of course, no Jeffrey Hurlings. He won't be here in Patagonia after breaking his foot in training, and the Red Bull KTM rider is the first defending champion since Stefan Everts in 07 not to be on the line for the season opener. Although, in Everts' case, he was absent after retiring as champion. But that represents a huge opportunity for Tony Cairoli to get a jump on his arch-rival and teammate, although they'll once again operate from under separate awnings. It's all changed at Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Gajser Moves and Max Anstey have both moved on, but there's quality coming in as well. MX2 World Champion Paul Jonas moves from the factory KTM squad to make his debut in MXGP, while Arminas Jasakonis swaps his Honda for life with Husky, looking to be a regular on the podium. There's plenty of fresh faces at Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP as well. 2015 champ Romain Febvre stays put for a 5th straight year, hoping for an injury-free campaign. But he has a new teammate in the shape of Jeremy Seewer, who was 8th in last year's championship, who moves from Wilbo Yamaha. There are big infrastructure changes at Boss GP, who ran 2 different marks last year. They also have a new team manager and have moved to Kawasaki Power. Kenny Bobashev remains in the team and is joined by Tommy Searle, a mover from Bike at DRT, retaining his links with Kawasaki. Gajser Moves is considered by many as a big contender for the title and has made the switch from Husqvarna to Monster Energy Wilbo Yamaha MXGP, going back to the brand for the first time since 2011. Arno Tonus remains in situ after sitting out all of 2018 with a shoulder injury. Standing construct KTM have picked up Glenn Coldenhoff from Red Bull, the outright winner of last year's Motocross of Nations, with the Dutchman heading an all-new rider lineup that includes Max Anstey after the Brits move from Husqvarna and Ivo Monticelli in what promises to be a very strong outfit. RFX KTM is a new team to MXGP and will operate with just one rider, Sean Simpson. After a tough couple of years at Yamaha, the Scot is now back with the mark with which he claimed 3 national titles and is looking to be operating at the sharp end once again. Alessandro Lupino produced a stunning performance at last year's Motocross of Nations and now wants to kick on into the top 10 with Team Geben van Venrooy Kawasaki. The Italian is joined by Benoit Paturel, who had a troubled season with Marchetti Racing. 2014 MX2 World Champion Jordi Tixier will have Team VHR KTM all to himself. Fresh from a winning debut in the Motocross of Nations for France, he will be keen to show he can still mix it with the big boys on the podium. After TM announced they were pulling out of the championship, Max Nagel has gone back to his roots with a return to KTM Saar Holtz Racing. He'll be joined by Tom Koch, who moves up from MX2. Tim Gajser overcame injuries to challenge for 3rd at the final round of the series and is considered a favourite before the first gate drop of the season here in Argentina. The team remains unchanged with Brian Bogus as his wingman. finally, Clement Desalle remains as the #1 hope to secure Kawasaki a first world title in the Premier class since Sebastian Tortelli in 1998. The team remains unchanged, with Julian Lieber as his sidekick. Anyway, here's Lisa Lane, and she caught up with Julian Lieber from Monster Energy Kawasaki a few moments ago, and the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna MXGP rookie, Paul Jonas.
One race down and 3 to go. I'm just on the start line with the MXGP guys. Now, I'd like to speak to Rockstar Energy Husqvarna's Paul Jonas. Paul's, you're recovering from an ACL injury and the surgery. It's been pretty tough. I imagine you haven't had a huge amount of bike time. Difficult qualifying. Just tell us, how are you feeling at the moment? Give us an update on the injury.
Yeah, I would say that the injury is feeling like my knee's feeling 80%. It's not for sure close. It's not for sure 100%, but we keep building. And also, you know, like for this race, we just came here to learn and get experience, because racing and training is two different things. Yeah. And this is my first race ever with the 450, so that's something new for me. And straight away in the GPs, it's never easy. But you know, so far I'm really enjoying every minute here. For sure, the qualifier race wasn't the best, but we are taking positives from the weekends and just getting experience to learn and get better race by race.
And what I was going to say, it's a new team, new bike, new class, so many changes. How has that transition been? You put the knee injury aside, how has that transition been? How are you settling into the team?
Actually, I would say like for all the rest except the injury, everything has been going really good. Like the team is awesome, and the preparation, as much as I had it, it's pretty okay. You know, for sure I'm lacking a lot of bike time, but that will come by the season. It's a long season, 20 GPs. So now the goal is just to finish 2 solid motos. A result doesn't matter. Just learn the 450, learn the bike, learn the class, and get experience for the next races.
Well, enjoy your first MXGP race.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Next rider I'd like to speak to is Monster Energy Kawasaki MXGP rider Julian Lieber. Julian, tell us a little bit about your winter. We know you've been helping develop the new Kawasaki 450 2019 bike. What's better about this bike? What's different about this bike? And how's your feel with the bike?
The most thing is that yeah, we could test compared to last year. I was injured, so this winter I could test a lot with a new bike and adapt more the bike to me, because last year's bike was more close to Clement's bike. So yeah, we did really a bike for me, and I feel really comfortable on it and feel great. And yeah, let's start the season now.
Last year was your rookie season in the class. It was a learning year for you. What's the realistic goal for you in your second year in MXGP now?
The goal is to ride closely to the top 5 and try to ride with those guys and be consistent.
Best of luck. Thank you, Julian. Good luck to all the guys here on the start line. It's time for MXGP Race 1.
Nice to see that Julian Lieber has a bike all to himself and not riding his teammates, if you know what I mean. But that's the whole thing of factory bikes. But those two actually had a slow winter at the end of 17 into 18, didn't they? Used other riders to test their bikes for them, but both riders are healthy over there at Monster Energy Kawasaki. They're out on the sighting lap, they're now back. But here's where we're going in 2019. 19 rounds of FIM Motocross World Championship action. We start off in Patagonia and we end in Hong Kong in September, just 1 week before the FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations. And of course, that will be in Assen in the north of the Netherlands. Right, if you didn't see the qualifying race from yesterday, let's take a look at our GoPro qualifying highlights. Coming up next. Gate dropped. Romain Febvre from over on the left-hand side made an okay jump, but it wasn't the best. On a Tonus, though. Gajser Moves through the first few corners, mixing it in around about the 7th-8th position. There was Lieber in second. Lupino was in third, just behind the number 243 of Tim Gajser. This was Paulin, just mixing it, just behind the 911 of Jordi Tixier, but up front it was Gajser who started to pull clear of Lieber and Lupino. Just behind them was Jonas, but A little bit of ring rustiness creeping in. Didn't have the intensity. Van Horbik sailed on by as he got himself into 5th place. At the same time, Febvre was making his moves from 4th to 3rd with that pass on Rapinoe. Nagel also found his way past the 41 of Jonas. Saarholz KTM looking pretty good here in Argentina. Anstey also looking sharp as well. He was there in around about 7th position on the opening lap, but started to make inroads as well to an eventual 5th place finish. Clement Desalle also on the charge, number 25, after a poor start. Started scything his way through, but Tony Cairoli, he made a poor start, got up to 12th, and then guess what? His bike went bang coming out of the first turn. Jonas was very lucky not to hit him. I've since asked, was it electrical or something more? And I was told it was something more, so we'll leave it right there, parked, just like that KTM, shall we? Gajser led, but he was getting caught hand over fist by the 461 of Romain Febvre on the Monster Energy Yamaha, but he had one or two little moments, but he was still looking silky smooth. Up the inside of Nagel was the other Max, Anstey, as he made that pass to get himself into 5th place. Well, 4th actually. The lead changed hands, and then this was the crash we never saw yesterday from the side angle, as Gajser went from 2nd to an eventual 9th place finish. He was very lucky to pick himself up, but it was a convincing win for Romain Febvre. So Romain Febvre then for Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP will go to the line first for the first race of the year. Brand new season here in Patagonia, Argentina. Julian Lieber, Monster Energy Kawasaki, will go to the line second ahead of the Honda SR machine of Jeremy Van Horbik. Clement Desalle for Max Anstey, 5th for Standing Construct KTM. Then Max Nagel for Saarholz KTM. Gauthier Paulin, Arno Tonis, both for Monster Energy Wilbo Yamaha. Tim Gajser for Team HRC and Arminas Jasinkonis for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Tommy Searle, Alessandro Lapino, Jeremy Seewer, another rider feeling the effects of not being on a bike. He had a lung infection, of course, a few weeks back. He's taken quite a bit of time off. He only had one race, pre-season race, and that was last weekend in France. So he just said this morning when I spoke to him before practice, or just after practice, that the problem that he has is just that intensity. Even for a fast lap, a time lap in qualifying, it doesn't have that kind of intensity. You can ride for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it takes, but all of a sudden, you're out here on the track with everybody else, like Romain Febvre, who's had a fantastic pre-season, and he just said that intensity, and it was the same for Paul Jonas, who eventually faded down to 18th. So they're going to be testing themselves this weekend. Honda SR, Motor Blues, Jeremy Van Horbik, the Jerry Man. Well, he's definitely going to be out to prove a point because he's been dumped from factory to privateer status. And I was reading a post from Adam Wheeler's On Track Off-Road over the weekend, and it just said that someone like Jeremy Van Horbik probably operates better as a one-man band and without all the factory fuss. Well, if that's the case, then maybe that is the perfect team and the perfect outfit for the Belgian, the former runner-up in MXGP. There is Tim Gajser. A little slip cost him the lead, which saw Febvre go by, and then that was on lap 9, but then halfway around the following lap, he just completely spammed himself into that jump. And I tell you what, Tony Cairoli has done very well just to get in next to Brian Bogers there, because he was 28th to the line. Tony Cairoli trying to keep that tyre as clean as possible, taking the tyre warmers off, taking the tyre covers off, I should say, that replicate tyre warmers if you're from MXGP or MotoGP. But Mr. Ingo Parch says the track is all clear. The Fly Racing 15-second board goes up for the first time then for the MXGP riders. MXGP Race 1 about to get underway here. Round 1, the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Who is it going to be that grabs that first foxhole shot? Last year it was Tony Cairoli that grabbed 19 of them. Romain Febvre up on gate number 1. He gets a good, clean getaway as well and starts to come across. He commands that turn, but it's one of the Kawasaki's, and it might be Lieber that grabs the foxhole shot. And it is, but Febvre right there in second, and Cairoli from over on the far side of the gate, as we expected he would do, already up into 3rd position. The power on that KTM, obviously pretty quick And he's we would like to see a replay of that actually, because he made rapid pace to that first turn, but he's there in third place. Desalle in fourth. So both the Kawasaki's first and fourth now, because, and I tell you what, wow, Cairoli goes to second. Febvre wasn't expecting that, but he gets his Yamaha ahead of the KTM. Well, Cairoli has had a fantastic pre-season, and he gets caught there just behind the Kawasaki. Now he's going to have to go the long way round, but Cairoli knows he's there as well. So a lightning start for Tony Cairoli. Talk about adrenaline-fueled. Man down over on the back there. Try and give you a name check on who that is, but he looks like he's all over the place. But it's Lieber who leads, Cairoli second. A lightning reaction, fast start for the 9-time champ. No Jeffrey Hurling's a foot injury, still keeping him on the sidelines, of course, the defending champion. The first time since 2007 we have not had the world champion lining up on the gate in the Premier class. Febvre third in blue, fourth is Desalle in green, then it is the 243 Honda of Gajser in red, just on the top of that crest now. Just behind them, Gauthier Paulin. And Cairoli takes the lead from Lieber just in the penultimate corner, and he will lead at the first lap here in Patagonia. Wow, what a response to a DNF in qualifying yesterday. You wouldn't have expected anything else though, would you? Right, so this is where we're going to see some real test, and Lieber goes wide, he leaves the door open. Febvre won't give him much change from there. Runs him out, and then he makes his turn. Gets himself into second position. He was short there, though, on the landing. Now, this will be interesting because Cairoli, in the post-race press conference yesterday, said he realised even on the start line that there might have been some problems with the bike, and he was having to nurture it because he figured that something might happen with it, and it happened in the first corner. Oh, a little lucky escape there from Febvre, and we never really saw these two go head-to-head, but Cairoli has been head and shoulders above everybody in the pre-season races in Italy. They're the only 3 rounds he's done, and the Kawasaki's get into each other as well. Desalle almost cleaning up his teammate Lieber, and no team orders. And I tell you what, Lieber did not give Desalle much room for manoeuvre around there, and it's still not over. Desalle being bounced from one side of the track to the other as he looks to maintain that third place. Finally gets the job done. Oh, and Gajser still going double-double out of that left-hand turn, just like he did yesterday, and he goes up the inside of Lieber. He is following Desalle through. We've got all the big hitters right where we want them, apart from Jeffrey Hurlings, who's sitting on the couch, twiddling his thumbs, wishing he was here. Get well soon, Jeff. Right, there's Lieber going through. There's Paulin. Paulin still in 6th position. 7th is Van Horbeke. 8th is going to be Seward. 9, Lupino. 10, Jackson Conis, head of his teammate Jonas, and then Simpson, and then Tonus, then Searle and Anstey. So some big names parked down the lower order of the top 10 here in MXGP Race 1. But it's Cairoli who was the fastest man on the track, fastest lap of the race on that opener, a 1:43.1, about 3/4 of a second quicker than Romain Febvre, who is just over a second behind this guy here, the 9-time champ, Tony Cairoli. Desalle right there, wow, this is shaping up. And there is Gajser, Lieber, and Paulin finding his way past the number 33. So we've got 5 guys in the top 5 that we want right there. Cairoli, Febvre, Desalle, Gajser, Paulin. Which way is this one going to go? Well, neither of these guys will let off, that's for sure. 25.5 minutes, still plenty of time to go in this first MXGP race of 2019. Nicely done there from Febvre as he just floats over that little single. There's Jeremy Seward giving chase to Jeremy Van Horbeke here for the Honda SR Motor Blues squad. Very much a private effort in MXGP. Lieber getting over that double as well. Simpson was doing it yesterday in time practice, and also Gauthier Paulin at times in the first free practice session. But we saw yesterday when Gajser tried doing it just that one time when he was ahead of Romain Febvre, he came up short, and then after that he stopped doing it. But it looks like they fixed the takeoff on that particular jump again as we come around for the end of lap 2. It is Tony Cairoli. The gap was 1.35. It is now less than a second as Febvre sets the fastest lap of the race. A 1:42.4 Only 4/10 in it, but he's got that gap down. Psychologically, that is a good boost for the former world champ. Romain Febvre there, 4:61 for Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP. He has looked very good and smooth and back to his 2015 self. Romain Febvre definitely had a good winter. Tripling in, going to the inside. It is the shortest route through, and if you get the power down. What is happening though, those waves, they do break down. You do get the odd edge here and there. But these two, about 2 seconds clear of Desalle there, look, in third position on that, the first of the Monster Energy Kawasaki's. Gajser for HRC Honda is there in the background in fourth in red, then a gap. So they're just starting to break free from Gauthier Paulin on the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha. Here he is, coming up towards us now, the number 21. Looks like there's a little bit of breeze starting to circulate around the racetrack here. Might make jumping just a little bit tricky. Got a couple of jumps where there's some serious hang time. There's that section where Gajser is going double-double as opposed to a single-triple. Wonder if that is actually any quicker. Yesterday it didn't seem to be that much so, but difficult to say until you see somebody make a pass there. But anyway, Gajser down in fourth place. Here is the battle for the lead though. And again, it was 0.9. The gap now down to 0.8. So chipping away. Romain Febvre and Cairoli's lead. Then a slight gap. Then we've got this battle for third. Clement Desalle and Tim Gajser. Out of the first four riders, you've got Tony Cairoli on 9 World Championships, Febvre on 1, Gajser on 2. Desalle yet to win one, but 12 titles there just in the first 4 positions alone. Gauthier Paulin in 5th place, Lieber 6th, Van Horbik 7. In fact, he's just found his way past. Look, there's Lieber in the background. So Lieber now down to 7th as Van Horbik goes through. Lupino is 8th for Kevin van Venrooy Kawasaki. 9 is Siwa. 10 is Jasikonis. 11 Jonas. 12 Tonus. 13 Simpson. And Anstey is in. So the standing construct KTM rider who went over the line in 23rd place. Not sure if that's a fall or if that's something else, but hopefully we'll have news on that before the start of the second race. But Anstey then, not the opening race of the year that he would have wanted. Very efficient through there. Romain Febvre, he's going to get good drive down this back straight here. One of the combinations for the two riders at the end of the straight, both tripling in and then using that outside. Cairoli can't afford to switch off. He can't afford to relax here. It's one place he's never won, actually, Tony Cairoli. He's won a race here in the past, but he's never actually found himself in a position where he can pick up the overall Grand Prix. Second overall last year, where he took that race win, and he got blitzed on the final lap, didn't he, by his teammate, Jeffrey Hurlings. At the end of this next series of turns and jumps. So that was the only race win that he's had. He was second overall here in 2016, third in 2015. And he's got his hands full of the flying Frenchman, Romain Febvre. Again, different combinations going in. Right, hanging off the back of those waves. This is where Gajser crashed so spectacularly yesterday. And Gajser starting to close in on Clement Desalle, just behind these two. So that battle for third is starting to tighten up a little bit. Then we've got Paulin out on his own in 5th place. Just on the jump behind, back end just a little bit loose and leery on the back of the Yamaha there of Febvre. Van Horbik not making too much ground on Paulin at the moment. Lieber, Lupino, Siwa and Jasikonis still rounding out there and lurking inside the top 10. And there is that triple, that double-double. Was it any quicker? High-speed part of the racetrack here, over the single and then onto the rhythm split section. Saw riders trying different things in MXGP, in MX2, but I tell you what, Cairoli is definitely being caught by Febvre, and I think The pressure from Gajser is starting to push everybody up. It was 4 seconds, just over 4 seconds between the top 4 riders at the end of lap 4. At the end of lap 5, it's 3.9, so it is coming down. And Desalle and Gajser will know that they are closing in on Cairoli and Febvre. Febvre, though, it's one of those situations where do you go now, or do you save it, or do you wait until you get caught, you know, put under pressure by the guys behind you from Desalle and Gajser? Difficult to know. It's one of those also where you, if you could strike early in the beginning, then you just, you know, the destiny is in your hands. But the longer you stay in that second position, of course, Cairoli, not easy to pass. Never has been, never will be. The longer you stay behind him, the longer you just get caught in that rut of just being comfortable in second position, if you can call comfortable in this field of MXGP talent, comfortable, of course. Right, Gajser, he'll go to the outside here, or will he switch to the inside? No, he switches it to the inside. Desalle, just under pressure. Watch the difference in lines here. Gajser will go in, he'll get on the gas early, and he almost seat bounces his way up onto that plateau. Goes double-double. Yeah, nothing really gained in it at all. Just psychologically, it's a nice little thing to do. Right, less than a second separating Cairoli and Febvre, and they look like they might have put a little bit of distance between themselves and Desalle this time around. Febvre setting the fastest sector 1, and Gajser setting the second, the fastest second sector on this lap this time around. Right, 43.6 becomes a 43.2 and a 43.1 again, less than a second, 0.8. Is this the battle that we're going to see during 2019? Cairoli and Febvre. Febvre back to his best, clearly. Proper game of chess going on between these two. Not an easy place to come to. Beautiful surroundings and a fantastic layout of a circuit, but the ground hard and crusty underneath this volcanic ash is really something a little bit special. And Desalle goes wide, but he doesn't go all the way wide. He utilises that middle lane section just to keep Tim Gajser behind him. Right, Gajser, will he square off here? And no, he buries it high and wide, and I think Desalle probably had the radar on underneath that aero helmet of his. Realised that Gajser was getting ready to slingshot around the outside. So Gajser just going to have to regroup. Breathe. So there's that section, double, triple, but as in the triple for Desalle, double for Gajser, who's definitely closer this time. And he might be able to execute a pass at the end of the straight here. Depends what Desalle does. I tell you what, Gajser just had to lock up the back brake there and slide his way out of danger. He realised Desalle was making a move across to the inside, and he's now on the ropes, Desalle, because he's put himself under a lot of pressure. He's having to go defensive. Going to be Honda versus Kawasaki, Japan versus Japan. Switches it back to the outside. He'll cut back to the inside here. Gets on the gas early and is going to take Desalle to the cleaners. Takes him all the way outside. Desalle don't like that though, and he comes back for more. Ah, the gloves are off here in Japan. Woohoo! Between the manufacturers, of course. Japanese pride right there, Kawasaki and Honda. Yamaha ahead of him, battling for the race win, but Cairoli has responded. He's now 1.3 seconds clear of Romain Febvre, who this year, of course, under the watchful eye of new coach, Jackie Vimond, who works with the Monster Khmer Yamaha squad. Right, he will hit the brakes and square out early. No, not able to get the power down early enough. Tim Gajser. Again, he has to go wide here. Doesn't want to get caught in the wheel tracks of Desalle. This is the closest he's been through this section. Are we going to see a pass over this rhythm section here? Does that double work, actually? Nah, he's going to be too far back, is he? No, it does work. So, finally, after 8 laps of trying, Tim Gajser makes that move stick. He was persistent with that line choice, stepping on and stepping off. So it's down to Desalle to respond now. So Gajser has to go defensive all of a sudden. Now this is playing into the hands of Cairoli and Febvre. Those two are 2.3 seconds apart. Been a good response from the 9-time champ and race leader, Tony Cairoli. But here's how Gajser found his way past Desalle just a moment ago. He buried his rear wheel into the dirt. He seat bounced his way onto that plateau. It's a stretch, but it was there, the second part of that double-double combination, where he made that pass stick. Gajser now to third. And, oh, Tonus. Big crash for the Swiss rider. Wow, that is out of turn 2 over the 2 floating jumps there. Oh, I tell you what, that is a huge crash for AT4. Wow. So Tonus, he is going to be feeling, I'd say more than a little bit second hand if he even lines up for the gate in race 2. He's, because he went down there, he definitely caught the bank. That's through the right-hand turn, out of turn 2, over that first floater. He crashed on the downside, and the crash didn't finish until the upslope of the next one, and he was definitely ragdolled out of there. Hopefully AT4 is okay. So the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha riders then down to 1 at the moment, with Gauthier Paulin in 5th position, 9 seconds down on this battle for the lead here. Cairoli and Febvre. That gap was 2.3 last time around. Just looking at the splits, I think Febvre has definitely pulled some of that gap back. It was 2.3. It's faster on the first 3 splits. And on the final split, he gave 0.2 away, but it's 1.8. So he's pulled back half a second over the lap there. So he's definitely going back after Cairoli with 12.5 plus 2 to go. Not a walk in the park for Cairoli by any means. Yeah, good to see him up on the bike, but that crash from Tonus was not pretty. So here's Cairoli. Just watch this. This was the Tonus crash. Look, just behind Jessiconis. Bottom of your screen. There. Boom. And he was lucky not to get hit here, look, because you're in that dip, you can't see the rider. Good to see him up and walking away, though. But not what Tonus would have wanted, or the Wilvo squad. Desalle, number 25. Monster Energy Kawasaki then has lost a little bit of ground on Tim Gajser. Febvre looks also like he's lost a little bit of ground as well. In fact, I'm honest, that was the first ever race winner here in MXGP back in 2015. Traded those wins with Max Nagel, the overall winner, of course, who went 3-1. Right, where's Febvre? Because he was only 1.8 down on Cairoli. And how much time? I tell you what, this has been yeah, he's lost a lot of ground here, and I think he's going to be coming under attack soon from Gajser, if we're not careful, is Romain Febvre, because over the line, Cairoli 1:43.0, 5.4 seconds. Wow. That has been a shocker of a lap for the 461 Monster Energy Yamaha rider, Romain Febvre. There he is, just going through turn 2. There's Gajser in 3rd, Desalle 4, Paulin 5, Van Horbink 6, 7, Lieber, and then we're just waiting for Lupino to come through. Right, this is Gajser and Desalle having their battle over second, earlier on, over third earlier in the race. That was Gajser being decisive. Desalle obviously responded, found his way back, and then the pass finally happened here for 3rd. That was Gajser going double-double. And he's still there. Just ahead of him is Romain Febvre. So Febvre did a 1:46.6 last time around, 44.8 for Gajser. So he needs to respond to that. Just saw Gauthier Paulin just a moment ago up in that right-hander around the tree. Gajser still utilising that double-double. Paulin was using that as well in free practice. Didn't do it so much in time practice, actually. Right, here's Febvre, just ahead of this guy. That's where Gajser fell when he led the qualifying race yesterday. There's Paulin. All right, is he getting any closer to Lieber? Sorry, to Desalle. There is Desalle. In that bottom corner, there's Louis Vosters, the team manager, team owner for the Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha squad. Right, over the line for Paulin. 14 seconds off the lead, so he's lost about 5 seconds to Cairoli over the course of the last few laps. And Febvre 6 seconds down now on the Red Bull KTM.
We just saw Arno Turnus have quite a big crash there. Firstly, is he okay? Because we saw you talking to him as well.
Yes, actually, it was a big crash, but I just saw him and it seems that he's okay.
What actually happened? Did you see what happened?
I didn't see it myself, but I think it was in that right-hander over there, and it was a big crash.
Will he be lining up for the second race?
Yeah, that we have to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a big crash, but Gajser Paulin, the other Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha rider then, just giving chase to Clement Desalle. He was 45.1 was the Kawasaki, 44.6 for Paulin. So that gap coming down ever so slightly. We've got 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go. MXGP race 1 here at the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM, leads, continues to lead. After starting out wide, he had the 28 gate choice. He managed to nick a couple of gates further down to the inside, but he was still out on the right. Came out third, quickly into second, quickly into the lead. Romain Febvre gave chase, and those two looked like they were going to duke it out. But guess what? Febvre, last time around, or a couple of laps ago, lost a good few seconds to Tony Cairoli, made a mistake obviously somewhere, and he's now under attack from Tim Gajser, who's done well to pick himself up from the deck after a crash yesterday at the end of the wave section that spammed himself into the face of the Monster Energy jump. He's riding a little bit battered and bruised, lost a little bit of skin in that process, but he's recovered well. And he's now all over the back of the 2015 MXGP World Champion. So Cairoli, 7.5 seconds clear of Febvre. Gajser there in red is third for HRC. Desalle, Monster Energy Kawasaki 4. Paulin, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha is 5. Van Horebeke for Honda SR Motor Blues 6. Lieber 7. Jonas and Jessica Konis have swapped places for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. They are now 8th and 9th. And Lupino for Gemma van Venrooy Kawasaki is 10. But Febvre definitely looking like he's on borrowed time. Doesn't really have a response. He had a cheeky look across to see the flash of red of Tim Gajser just sneaking up around the outside, but it was more of a move just to try and keep him back just a little bit longer. But he's obviously looking, I don't know, just lost the rhythm a little bit maybe. Might be arm pump. I don't think it's going to be fitness with Romain Febvre, who's had a good, solid, productive winter. Maybe just made a mistake and just broke the concentration there. Couldn't get back on terms with Cairoli, the race leader. He's gone a little bit to sleep. Middle of the race, but he's got 6 minutes to try and keep the number 243 of Tim Gajser at bay here. Still a solid start, though, for the former champ. And, of course, Gajser wasn't even here last year after he had those facial injuries from a pre-season race in Italy last year, of course. So both these two already ahead of where they were this time last year. They'll take that all day long. Desalle, oh, that back end on that Honda, just getting out of shape there, misbehaving, I think you would say. Watch this here. Tell you what, Jonas was on the wrong end of one of those a couple of years ago, wasn't he, in MX2? I think he was still bouncing down the track by the time we'd finished the replay of that. It ended not in a good way. Undeterred, though. Gajser back on the case. Yeah, just not the same Romain Febvre we saw in qualifying or in the early part of this race, actually. Just his timing's a little bit off, actually, the Yamaha rider. There's Desalle. I tell you what, if he's not careful, Romain Febvre, he's going to be holding up this little bit of a train, and Desalle might be joining him. See the difference, single, triple, and then double, double. That's where, if he's close enough, Tim Gajser might be getting ready to tee up a move on the Yamaha rider just ahead of him. This is a fight for second position. If he can bring it home in second, that'll be more of a relief than anything else, because with time ticking away, you've been sat there all race long. The last thing you want is to get pipped at the post with a lap to go, or even on the final lap. Just ask Cairoli what that feels like. Happened to him less than a lap from home in race 2 last year, when he got his pocket picked by his teammate Herlings, which also decided the outcome of the overall Grand Prix. Right, a little bit straighter this time for Gajser through that part of the racetrack. Seaward now up to 10th, because he's found his way past Alessandro Lupino. So the teammate of Monster Energy Yamaha, factory MXGP, to Romain Febvre here. The lead rider in this particular shot in blue. A little bit ring rusty. Just now got himself up in the 10th position. Good atmosphere here all weekend long. Good crowd as Tony Cairoli had to improvise over that little single. Just got a little kick. Good to see his reflexes were on point. Almost as good as his clutch finger. Got him out of the gate so well earlier on. All the way from the outside. All right, back markers. And there is, I tell you what, not quite close enough, but he's edging closer. Here's Gajser. He might even make the move at the end of the straight here. Febvre definitely looking a little bit lethargic. I think the only thing he's got going for him is that back marker's gone to the inside as well, but Gajser won't care about that. And he does. He leans on the Frenchman. Wow. So no reaction, nothing else to give Romain Febvre. Or he might, actually, next left. Now he's been kept out there, hasn't he? Hung out to dry. Needs to wake up. Does Romain Febvre. So Gajser into second then, after 15 laps of trying. 10 seconds behind Tony Cairoli. When you see how fast that is there through that first floater, that's where Tonus got off so spectacularly earlier on in the race. Right, Febvre, has he got anything left in the tank? Less than 2 minutes plus 2 to go. He'll be spewing underneath that Alpine Star helmet of his. Giving away 2 points in the closing stages of this race. MXGP race 1. However, you cannot win a championship round 1. You can certainly lose it. Febvre will be mindful of that. Now the ground is starting to firm up underneath the rear Pirelli tyres of the Frenchman. Paulin is getting closer to Clement Desalle, but he's going to run out of time. Look, there's Desalle going in the opposite direction on that Kawasaki. There's Paulin just behind him. Then a back marker, but Cairoli definitely got this one in hand. Gajser second, Febvre, Desalle, Paulin, Van Hrobeek gear top 6. The Jerryman, number 89, Honda SR Moto Blues. Dipping their hands in all of their pockets to make that possible for the Belgian. Van Hrobeek. Privateer status of the highest order. All right, there's Paulin. First real look at the flamboyant Frenchman as he goes after Clement Desalle and what should be 4th position. The Belgian here gained a couple of tenths on Paulin that time around. There'll be 3 laps to go. It's high speed through there, isn't it? 3rd gear on a 450. Just a little bit further back, waiting for the 2 Rockstar Energy Huskies, Jonas and Jasikonis. They are 8th and 9th, but his teammate all over the back of the rookie. They were 1/10 apart as they hit the line just a moment ago. Cairoli, as he hits that jump in the background there, the city jump, he would have just taken a quick look across. He would have seen Gajser and Febvre around about 9-10 seconds further back. He knows it's his race to lose. Doesn't want to get caught out like he did last year. No movement further down the table as Cairoli gets ready to take the 2-lap board in a couple of corners' time. Still got Gajser there and Febvre fighting over second and third place. Desalle fourth, Paulin fifth, and Horvik sixth. A few seconds further back, we've got Julian Lieber. Jonas, at the moment, still hanging on from his teammate, Jasikonis. They hit the split about 6/10 apart over on the third sector. Seawer is 10th. Simpson now up to 11th, actually, for RFX KTM. Lupino has been dumped down to 12th, but he's had finger injuries and ankle injuries in the off-season. I was talking to Christian Ravaglia, his team coach, earlier on this morning. So just having to do the whole kind of damage limitation thing, Lupino, who was so impressive at Redbird at the Motocross of Nations earlier at the back end of last year. Searle is 13th, Bike DRT, Kawasaki, sorry, not Bike DRT, so Boss GP. His teammate, a non-starter actually, Evgeny Bobashev, still struggling with a wrist injury. No Strybos as well. Elbow injury. Just tendon flared up again in the off-season, so hopefully we'll see him back soon. He's looking a little untidy, isn't he? The rhythm definitely is gone. He'll be having a serious word with himself, but actually this is where someone like Jackie Vimon will help in the corner for Romain Febvre in the break between race 1 and race 2. Never really had anybody like that just to tell him what was right and what was wrong, how the race fell apart, and at what point. And he'll be able to just offer a few words of wisdom, and I'm sure Febvre will come back fighting strong in race 2. But Cairoli getting ready to hit the line to take the 1-lap board. It's 2 corners from home. As we look at Gajser, here is Cairoli. So, 18 laps in the bag. 2:22, Red Bull KTM, Antonio Cairoli, a lap time of 1:46.072. Gajser hits the line any moment now, 9.5 seconds back, 46.9. So, still losing almost a second to Cairoli. But also, he knows that he can't really push that 10 seconds. Even if you're a second lap faster, you need at least 10 seconds to whittle that gap down. So Gajser riding pretty smart. Knows he can't do anything about Cairoli at this late stage in the race. Just bring it home. Just do enough to stay ahead of Febvre. He's now 3 seconds clear of the former champ. Cairoli back end. Just a little warning sign there for him not to take it too easy on the final lap. Watch this. That's the danger with this circuit. It's like it's a crust, it's a hard crust. It breaks down, it gets loose, but you catch one of those edges, and I tell you what, boy, you'll feel it in the morning. Just ask Gajser. That's what he did yesterday. Got a swap on, caught an edge. Right. Almost home and dry, Antonio Cairoli. You watch his start when we show the race highlights. Look how far out he came from to get himself into good position through the first couple of corners. Anyway, here is Cairoli. 2 corners to go. The Red Bull KTM rider in majestic form once again here in Argentina. And the Red Bull KTM rider rounds out the final turn to pick up the win at 25 points in race 1 here. Fans love that. Very popular here. So Tony Cairoli then. First part of the job done. Can he nail down 2 solid rides to stand on the top step of the podium for the first time in Argentina? There is Tim Gajser. He comes home second. Romain Febvre third. He'll be having a good word with himself and his trainer, of course, as he goes back. But Tony Cairoli, just a quick debrief there with Claudio and David Desalle. Everything okay? Yep, cool. Okay, go do your interviews. Nothing for us to worry about? No, perfect. All right, job done. Looks like the bike never missed a beat this time around. There is the 33 of Julian Lieber coming over the line. So Cairoli wins it from Gajser, Febvre 3rd, Desalle 4, Paulin 5, Van Horbeke 6, Lieber 7. Is it Jonas or Jasikonis? It was Jasikonis on the last lap. Found his way past Jonas. He looks there. Look at him. You can see the animated body language there from Paul's Jonas. Anyway, here's Tony Cairoli with Lisa.
Massive congratulations. What a turnaround from yesterday. An impressive start. Fantastic. Held on to that lead. It was a perfect race for you.
Yeah, I know. It's really important to start on this track because the difference between the riders is not so much. The track is quite flat still. So, and it was nothing for me, you know, because the start was completely outside, which is not really the best on this track. But I managed to risk a little bit on the first corner, and it was good. I was lucky that I could find some spot, and I could finish top 5 on the first second corner, and then I made some passes and take the lead. So I'm really happy. Looking forward for the second moto. Hopefully we can take another good start.
Good luck for the second race. Thank you.
Tony Cairoli wins race 1 then, the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. Here, just outside Michel Angostura, circuit of Neuquén. Does it in convincing style as well. Didn't make a great start. Well, wasn't that bad from considering how far over on the right-hand side he was, but good reactions, good speed into that first turn. Did exactly what he needed to do to make the job just that little bit easier. Nothing easy about MXGP though, is there? Not really. Anyway, Tony Cairoli, your winner in race 1. Here's how the race finished. Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM. Factory Racing, your winner, 25.6 seconds clear of Tim Gajser from Team HRC. Romain Febvre was 3rd for Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP. Clement Desalle, Monster Energy Kawasaki 4. Paulin, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha 5. Van Horbeke 6 for Honda SR Motor Blues. Julian Lieber 7. Jasikonis and Jonas. The Rockstar Energy Huskies were 8th and 9th. Jassy picking off Jonas on the final lap. Jeremy Seawer, 10. Simpson for RFX KTM 11. Lupino's Gavin Van Venrooy Kawasaki was 12. Searles Boss GP Cowie was 13. Tixier for VHR KTM 14. Then Ivo Monticelli at Standing Construct KTM. Bogas, Koldenhoff, Poli, Boutron and Salazar. Anyway, let's check out the highlights. See how Tony Cairoli went about winning race 1. Over on the left side, look, Tony Cairoli. Squeezed around the outside, came out. He used that berm to absolute perfection. Look, came out in 3rd position as Julian Lieber grabbed the first foxhole shot of the year on his Kawasaki. Febvre was in 2nd. Quickly into 3rd was Cairoli. 4th was Desalle. And then 5th was Gajser on the Honda. Before the end of the lap, though, Cairoli led with that move on Lieber. Febvre was quickly through into 2nd position as well. Through turn 2 at the start of the next lap. He pushed the Belgian wide. And he went in pursuit of Cairoli. Desalle almost got into his teammate Lieber. Got himself up into 3rd place initially. All the while, Gajser was watching in the background. He made a move on the first of the Monster Energy Kawasaki's, Julian Lieber, to get himself into 4th. Paulin also found his way around Lieber on his Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha, number 21. Got himself into 5th. That's where he would stay. Anstey would go out early, though, on the Standing Construct KTM. Desalle was 3rd and being pressured by the 243 of Gajser from HRC. Eventually, he thought he made the move stick. The two jostled for position just a little bit longer, and eventually Gajser did go through. Double combination. Probably not helped by the fact that Desalle got a little bit out of shape. Arnold Tonis went out spectacularly, look. Good to see he picked himself up and walked away. Hopefully he will start race 2, but losing his rhythm, Romain Febvre got caught napping and was passed by Tim Gajser in the latter stages of the race, but it was Cairoli who was a comfortable winner in race 1. Foxhole shot then, the first foxhole shot of the year in the MXGP category, went a little bit like this. Number 33, Julian Lieber. Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team, the Belgian picking up the first black plate of the year. Picked up one last year as well, did Julian Lieber. Was in Frauenfeld in race 2, Switzerland. So, beautiful day here in the Garden of Patagonia for the first round of MXGP. Let's take a look at some of the best moments from MXGP Race 1. Cairoli then wins race 1. They were some of the best moments. Right, we are going to take a break for about an hour. When we return on MXGPTV.com, it will be for the final 2 races of the weekend, starting with MX2 Race 2. We'll see you then.